Hello guys. So in the previous video, we have seen about the hypersensitivity and its four different types of hypersensitivity. So coming to the today's video, we'll discuss about the types of hypersensitivity gurinchi PYQs. So what kind of questions they may ask. So these are useful for your any kind of competitive examinations, which includes zoology. So coming to your first question, which of the following is an example of type 1 hypersensitivity? So it's a type 1 hypersensitivity గురించి ఏమనుకున్నాం? It is also called as anaphylactic hypersensitivity or immediate hypersensitivity. So the example we have seen is asthma, hay fever, pollen grains, allergic reactions. So ఇవన్నీ comes under the type 1 hypersensitivity. I repeat, if you haven't gone through that content of hypersensitivity, ఒకసారి ఆ వీడియో చూసి ఇక్కడ క్వశ్చన్స్ చూడండి సో దట్ ఇట్ విల్ బి ఈజీ ఫర్ యూ అండ్ యూస్ఫుల్ ఫర్ యూ యాజ్ వెల్. కమింగ్ టు ద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్, which immunoglobulin is primarily involved in the type 1 hypersensitivity reaction? So type 1 low IgE antibodies are involved. Immediate hypersensitivity reactions causing allergic reactions. Next question. Type O hypersensitivity is also called as delayed type of hypersensitivity or cell-mediated type of hypersensitivity. Two names, delayed ichna, cell-mediated ichna, it is type 4 hypersensitivity. Which cell plays a major role in type 4 hypersensitivity reactions? As I said, you cell-mediated hypersensitivity and antam, so that is mediated by the T cells. T helper cells, cytotoxic cells, every cells will be involved in the type 4 hypersensitivity or delayed type of hypersensitivity. Serum sickness is an example of which type of hypersensitivity? So serum sickness is an example of type 3 hypersensitivity. So serum sickness ante enti? Whenever any allergen enters into our body, it will be developing antigen antibody complexes and these complexes will be deposited in the body. So examples ఏం చూసాం మనం serum sickness కి arthritis, glomerulonephritis, systemic lupus erythematosus. So ఇవన్నీ examples comes under the serum sickness including type 3 hypersensitivity reactions. Excuse me. Next. Which of the following is a characteristic feature of type 2 hypersensitivity? So type 2 hypersensitivity includes antibody mediated cell destruction. So whenever any allergen enters into our body, antibody will bind to that cell and destroy the specific cell. So type 2 hypersensitivity లో ఏదైతే సెల్ లోపలికి యాంటీజెన్ ఎంటర్ అయిందో ఆ సెల్ కి మాత్రమే డెస్ట్రక్షన్, ఆ సెల్ కి మాత్రమే డ్యామేజ్ అవుతుంది అనమాట. So that is type 2 hypersensitivity. So the correct option is antibody mediated cell destruction. Next question. Contact dermatitis is a classic example of which type of hypersensitivity reaction? So type 4 is the example of contact dermatitis or TB skin test అని చెప్పాను. So whenever contact dermatitis అంటే ఏంటి? Whenever any allergen comes into contact of your skin. సో స్కిన్తో కాంటాక్ట్ అయితే స్కిన్ మీద అలర్జీస్ ఫామ్ అవుతాయి. సో ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ రియాక్షన్స్ని, ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ హైపర్ సెన్సిటివిటీ రియాక్షన్స్ని వీ కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ కాంటాక్ట్ dermatitis. So it is an example of type 4, that is delayed type of hypersensitivity. Next question. Which of the following mediators is released by the mast cells during a type 1 hypersensitivity reaction? So the answer is histamine for this question. So if you remember in the video, at the third step, that is at the response step lo, repressor step lo, mast cells will release certain biological active substances అని చెప్పాను. హిస్టమైన్, హెపారిన్, బాడ్రికైనిన్, ప్రోస్టాగ్లాండిన్స్, సమ్ ప్రోటీన్స్. సో ఇవన్నీ చెప్పాను. సో ఇందులో ఆప్షన్స్లో అయితే హిస్టమైన్ విల్ బి ది కరెక్ట్ ఆప్షన్ ఫర్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్. నెక్స్ట్. Which type of hypersensitivity is primarily involved in autoimmune hemolytic anemia? So the answer is type 2. So type 2 లో మనకి transfusion reactions, RH incompatibility reactions and autoimmune hemolytic anemia. So these are all the examples comes under the type 2 hypersensitivity reactions. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia అంటే ఏంటి? So body will stop or forget the recognition of your own blood cells. సో ఓన్ బ్లడ్ సెల్స్ని యాంటీజెన్స్ లాగా లైక్ Anukoni, it will produce the self antibodies for your self antigens, ultimately destroying your blood cells. So that is autoimmune hemolytic anemia, including in the type 2 hypersensitivity reactions. Next question. Which of the following disease is associated with the type 3 hypersensitivity reactions? SLE is the example. Arthritis itchna, it is also type 3. Glomerulonephritis, vasculitis, this serum sickness. So this all comes under the type 3 hypersensitivity reactions. Done. Next question. In type 2 hypersensitivity, the antigen is typically, so antigen is typically a cell surface or matrix antigen. I repeat, antigen will be binding to the cell. So antibody will come and bind to that cell and destroying only the cell. So type 2 hypersensitivity లో only the specific cell damage అనేది అవుతుందన్నమాట. సో ఇక్కడ అది యాంటీజన్ అనేది ఏంటి, ఒక సెల్ సర్ఫేస్ యాంటీజన్ అయినా అయి ఉండొచ్చు, మ్యాట్రిక్స్ యాంటీజన్ అయినా అయి ఉండొచ్చు. డన్. Next question. Which of the following is not typically involved in type 1 hypersensitivity reaction? So mast cells will be involved, IgE antibodies, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils will be involved in the type 1 hypersensitivity. So cytotoxic T cells or CD8 T cells will be involved in the type 4 hypersensitivity, that is delayed type of hypersensitivity or cell mediated immunity. Done. Hypersensitivity, sorry. So the correct option for this is CD8 plus or cytotoxic T cells. So these are type 4 hypersensitivity cells. Done. Next question. Which hypersensitivity reaction can involve immune complex deposition in tissues leading to inflammation and tissue damage? So the correct answer is type 3, where arthritis, systemic lupus erythromatosis, serum sickness, ఇవన్నిటికి ఇన్ఫ్లమేషన్ అవ్వడం ద్వారా ఫామ్ అవుతాయి అన్నమాట. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ కమ్స్ అండర్ ది type 3 hypersensitivity. What is the time course of a typical type 1 hypersensitivity? సో టైప్ 1 హైపర్సెన్సిటివిటీకి అదర్ నేమ్ ఏం చెప్పాను, ఇమీడియట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ హైపర్సెన్సిటివిటీ అని చెప్పాను, ఆర్ అనాఫిలాక్టిక్ హైపర్సెన్సిటివిటీ. సో ఇట్ విల్ బి అకరింగ్ ఇమీడియట్లీ, దట్ ఈస్ విత్ ఇన్ మినిట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్పోజర్. సో ఏదైనా యాంటీజన్ ఆర్ అలర్జన్ బాడీలోకి ఎంటర్ అయినా ఆర్ కాంటాక్ట్ అయినా విత్ ఇన్ మినిట్స్ యూ విల్ బి గెటింగ్ ది రియాక్షన్స్ అనమాట. డన్. సో ద కరెక్ట్ ఆప్షన్ ఇస్ ఆప్షన్ సి. Next question. Which hypersensitivity reactions is also referred to as immune complex disease? So type 3 is the immune complex diseases where immune complexes will be deposited and ultimately leading the inflammation, serum sickness, arthritis, systemic lupus erythromatosis. So the correct option is type 3, that is immune complex disease. Next question. Which of the following describes the mechanism of type 2 hypersensitivity? So type 2 hypersensitivity lo enti, cell paina antigens will be there. I mean, self antigens will be there. So for that, antibodies will be produced and they will be attacking the specific cells. Phagocytosis kani, opsonization process dwara kani, it will be done. So the correct option is option D. Antibody bind to self antigen and activate complement or phagocytosis. Done. So this is the type 2 hypersensitivity reaction. Next. What is the role of eosinophils in hypersensitivity reactions? So eosinophils will be producing certain toxic granules. So toxic granules produced చేయడం ద్వారా in response to IgE. సో ఇస్నోఫిల్స్ అనేది ఇంతకుముందు క్వశ్చన్లో కూడా చూసాం. ఇట్స్ టైప్ 1 హైపర్సెన్సిటివిటీ రియాక్షన్స్లో ఏ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతాయని. సో దట్ ఈస్ eosinophils. Done. So release toxic granules in response to IgE in type 1 reaction. So that's the role of eosinophils in the hypersensitivity reactions. Next question. Type 4 hypersensitivity reactions, the major effector molecules are. So the major effector molecules in type 4 hypersensitivity is the T cells, T lymphocytes, that is T helper cells, CD4, cytotoxic cells, that is CD8 cells. So both the T cells will be, T lymphocytes will be involved in the type 4 hypersensitivity. Done. So these are all the questions of hypersensitivity and types of hypersensitivity. Go through that content video. Come to this PYQs of hypersensitivity. Hope you like the video. Thank you.